From Washington, I'm Christopher Cruz. President Obama says he now is, in his words, modestly optimistic that a deal can be reached with Congress to avoid tax increases and deep government spending cuts before the end of the year. The president told reporters late Friday that Republican Senator Mitch McConnell, the leader of Republican senators, and Democratic Senator Harry Reid, the leader of Democratic senators, were working together on an agreement. He said they would work on temporary measures to try to prevent automatic tax increases and continue payments to the unemployed after January 1st. The Indian student who was gang raped on a bus in New Delhi earlier this month has died at a hospital in Singapore. The hospital released a statement that said the 23-year-old woman died peacefully early Saturday. The statement said her family members were by her side when she died. The head of the hospital said a medical team had been trying to save the woman's life since she arrived from India on Wednesday. He said earlier Friday that doctors had placed her on breathing support machines and had given her the highest level of antibiotics permitted. The woman was traveling on a private bus when a group of men on the vehicle raped and beat her for an hour. They then removed her clothes and threw her out of the bus. 6 men have been arrested. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has urged Syria's Deputy Foreign Minister to meet with the opposition to talk and try to end 21 months of civil war. But a Syrian opposition leader says there is no interest in talks with the government of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Muaz al-Khatib also told Al Jazeera Television Friday that he had decided against traveling to Russia for talks. He said he wanted Russia to apologize for its support of Mr. Assad. Earlier Friday, a Russian deputy foreign minister told the RIA Novosti news agency that Russia had invited the Syrian National Council for talks. The council is recognized by many countries as the temporary legal government of Syria. Tens of thousands of Iraqis gathered in the streets of a Sunni-controlled western province on Friday. They demanded that the Shiite-led national government release prisoners whom they say have been illegally detained. The protesters blocked a main road in Anbar province, west of the capital, Baghdad. Protests were also reported in the northern Sunni-controlled towns of Tikrit, Mosul, Fallujah, Ramadi, and Samarra. Many protesters accused the government of ignoring the rights of Sunni Muslims, a minority religious group in Iraq. You are listening to the news in VOA Special English, coming your way from Washington. Central African nations are working to begin talks between the government of the Central African Republic and the Seleka rebels. The rebels have taken control of 10 towns in the northern part of the country in the last 3 weeks. They now control territory just 300 kilometers from Bangui, the capital. The Economic Community of Central African States has promised to send troops to support the government. Aid agencies say children in the Democratic Republic of Congo are at extreme risk from armed militias. The VOA's Bob Doty reports.
Recent fighting on the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo has forced families to flee. Aid agencies estimate that almost 1 million people have been displaced in the North Kivu area of DRC. Many children become separated from their families in the conflict. Save the Children has identified 923 lost children. There are probably thousands more in settlements across North Kivu, where the M23 rebel group is active. Aid workers in the area try to unite lost children with their parents. Spokesperson Katie Seaborn says,
"Often in the chaos when families are leaving, children become separated from their families. This puts them at extreme risk, and we can only imagine how terrifying that must be for the children."
Ms. Seaborn says sexual violence against the children is an ongoing danger. She also says lost children are forced to fight for the rebels. In May, a Human Rights Watch report said that the leader of the M23 rebels, General Bosco Ntaganda, had seized at least 149 boys and young men in less than a month. The report said the rebel army officer had forced kidnapped boys to walk in front of his troops, so the boys would be shot first. The International Criminal Court ordered the arrest of the rebel leader in 2006. That same year, the United Nations Children Organization estimated that around 30,000 children had been forced to fight in the war. With the continued fighting in DRC, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of children now alone and at risk of sexual abuse, forced labor, and forced fighting.
Reporter Henry Ridgewell gave information for that report. And finally at this hour, officials in northwest Pakistan say they welcome the Pakistani Taliban's offer to negotiate with the government. In a video released to reporters, Pakistani Taliban leader Hakimullah Masood said his group is open to negotiations if the government cuts its ties to the United States. But he said the Taliban would not even plan for talks if the government demands that the group first give up its weapons.